mellow.
Ethereal?
You're not trying too hard. Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be checking out Northern Brewer's 1 gallon homebrew kit. This one is the Lemon Shandy, or their Summer Squeeze. So let's get into it. Let's see what comes inside this box. Alright guys, let's take a look to see what comes in this box. Like I said, this is the Summer Squeeze Lemon Shandy. So we're going to take a look, see what all comes in it. Looks like we have the fizz drops. We have the active brewing yeast. Looks like we have 2 German hops. We have our dry malt extract, or DME. Looks like we have our crystallized lemon. And then last but not least, we actually have the instructions on how to make this beer. So let's get into seeing what you guys would need to make this beer. Alright guys, let's get into what you need to make this beer. So these are going to be some simple things. You get these anywhere. The first thing you're going to need is a bucket. Just make sure you put a spout on it. So this bucket I bought from Home Depot, I just cut a hole in it, put a spigot in it, make sure it's watertight, and it was good to go. On top of that, you're going to need a second bucket. So make sure you pick up 2 while you're at it. Like I said, these are just from Home Depot. They're food grade, and they're just, very convenient. With those buckets, you're going to need at least 1 lid. So you can get 2. I think they come together, but just to make sure you get 1. And as you guys can see, I don't know if you can tell, I cut a hole into it and I put a rubber grommet on it. So, and the reason why I did that is because that's where your airlock's going to go. You're going to put your airlock right on there. Okay? So make sure you have 2 buckets with a lid and your airlock. The next thing you're going to need is something to clean those buckets. I would recommend Star Sand. Star Sand is very good. A lot of home brewers use it. It's just very easy. You can pretty much buy it anywhere. I don't think you can buy it at like Walmart, but you can buy it online. It's very simple. The next thing you're going to need is a spoon. You can use any spoons. Just make sure it's sanitized and clean. If it comes in contact with that beer, you just got to make sure everything's sanitized. You're going to need a thermometer. So I actually have 2 thermometers. So this one I actually leave in the pot, so it gives me that constant temperature the entire time I'm brewing. And then the second one I have is actually a digital thermometer. So I'm able to put this one in the pot to get a different, temperatures throughout. The next thing you're going to need is a pair of scissors. You don't really need these, but I just had it down here, so here we go. So just make sure you have a pair of scissors. We use that to cut open all the packets and stuff like that. So we're going to make sure those are sanitized as well. One of the things that you guys don't really need, but is pretty highly recommended, is a hydrometer. A hydrometer is just going to be used to get the ABV of the beer and tell you where you're at, especially because I'm following instructions. I'm going to want to try to look to see where my OG is per the instructions. So these are the things that you guys are going to need. Again, I can link all the stuff down in the description below so that you guys can make this kit yourself. Alright guys, now we're going to get ready to clean everything. So it's pretty much the stuff that's going to be touching the beers, everything that's going to be going into the sanitizer. So the bucket, your spoon, your scissors, your thermometer, all that kind of stuff, that's all going to go into the sanitizer. So we're going to get ready to clean this and make sure everything's sanitized. So we're going to start sanitizing. So the nice thing is with Star Sand is that if you look carefully, there's a little squeeze bottle, so you can just squeeze it up and then you can just fill. So per the instructions, for one 5-gallon bucket, you need 1 ounce. So we're going to use just a little less than a quarter of it. We're going to just pour that in, and then we're going to let this fill up with warm water. Alrighty, then once you guys get that filled up, you're just going to want to take some of your tools, and like I said, anything that's going to be touching the beer itself. So the thermometer, we're going to just go ahead and throw that in. So we're going to throw our pair of scissors in there. We're going to throw our spoon. We're just going to flip our spoon every so often. We're also going to put our airlock in there. We're just going to let that sit. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to heat up 1.25 gallons of water. So you can use just tap water, whatever you want. I like to just buy it by the gallons. I'm gonna go ahead and put one of these in there. And then on top of that, it's another 32 ounces of water, so to make 1.25 gallons. So we're just gonna go ahead and fill this up. We're gonna let that come to a boil, and we'll begin the next step. Now you can see that this is a boil. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna remove this off the burner. Or shut that off. Next thing, we're gonna grab our DME. We're gonna put this over top. So this gets a little tricky, but I cut a nice big hole in it. And then with our sanitized spoon, we're actually gonna go ahead and we're gonna add this in. And we're gonna make sure we stir. You don't want it to caramelize at the bottom. So you just wanna keep stirring it in. All right, now that we have that pretty good and stirred, we're gonna actually turn our heat back on. And we're gonna move back onto the burner. We're gonna let that come back to a boil.
A few moments later.
And as you can tell, it is now back at a boil. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our 2 packets of hops. We're going to use our scissors. We're gonna cut it over top. Make sure not to drop the top in. We're gonna add all those hops in there. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give it a nice stir again. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna set a timer. We're gonna set that for 45 minutes. And now we're gonna wait 45 minutes until that's done. And at the end, we're gonna add our crystallized lemonade in there. So go ahead, drink a beer, and wait 45 minutes. All right, guys, now that we only have about 5 minutes left on the boil, it's time to get ready for our ice bath. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is cap off your sink, and then you're gonna wanna fill it up with cold water. Just go ahead and fill it up with some cold water. Then if you have ice packs, go ahead and put all your ice packs in. What I like to do is just take all the ice out of the refrigerator. Just gotta let that fill up. Alright, now it's the end of the boil. We're gonna grab our crystallized lemon. Not sure if you guys can see that. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to pour that in. This has a nice bag. And then you get that all in there. I'm gonna try to do this all in one shot for you guys. Go ahead and we're gonna stir that in. It smells delicious. Once you get that in, you're gonna cover the pot. We're gonna take that straight into that ice bath. Now that it's in the ice bath, you can go ahead and put a thermometer back on her. Just let her sit there until that temperature comes down to about 65 degrees to 70 degrees. Now that we have had it cool down in the ice bath, we're now going to take it out of the ice bath. And this is where a siphon would help, but because I don't have one with me, I'm just going to pour it over. You're just going to do this very, very carefully. Do you guys see all this nasty stuff down at the bottom? You're going to want to leave all of that out. So try not to add that to your beer. So the next step that we're going to do is we're actually going to make sure that this fermenter is now filled up to 1 gallon. and then we're gonna add our yeast. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our yeast. We're just gonna cut that open right above the fermenter, and we're gonna make sure that's all sprinkled in there nice and perfect, just like that. Then last but not least, we're gonna make sure that we put our airlock in and that we fill it up to the fill lines on both. I just use sanitizer water. You can use boiling water, clean water. When you're making your sanitizer, you might want to put some of the water aside. That also just helps you for cleaning other tools and stuff like that, and especially for the airlock at the end. And that's it, guys. So that's the beer. It was very simple to make. 45-minute boil time, you can't really beat that. The next step with this is to actually put it in a nice dark spot like this basement. But overall, I think it was a really simple beer to make. I know the last video I made, I told you guys I was going to be doing a bottling video, and I totally forgot, so that's my fault. This one I'm going to be kegging it, so I'll definitely show you guys how that comes out, and we'll do a nice taste sample of it too. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a good time making this, and you guys take on the task yourself. See you later.